Music on. Hello, we'll call to order the Escada School Board of Directors meeting for November 12th, 2025. Let's rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Evening, everyone. Before we begin, as we begin today's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Veterans Day. This day is more than just time off of school. It is a time to honor the brave men and women who have served our country with courage, dedication, and sacrifice. We are grateful for the freedoms of their service and has protected an example of commitment they provide our community and our students. To all veterans, past and present, on behalf of the Escada School Board and our school district, I'd like to say thank you for your service, sacrifice, and your leadership. Can we get a roll call, Denise?
Director Lohmeyer,
Here.
Director Walper,
Here.
Director Martinez, Director Berman,
Here.
Chair Rydell, Director Wheeler,
Here.
and Vice Chair Johnston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I'd like to, Denise, was the meeting properly notified?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda as is.
Vice Chair Johnson, I would like to approve the agenda as written.
There's
Second.
approval and a second. Anything we need to talk about in the agenda itself? Nope. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
We will move on to Board of Directors reports. We'll start with Director Walper.
I have nothing.
Nothing from Director Walper.
Nothing.
Director Berman?
Nothing to report, thank you.
I also have nothing to report.
Come on.
You gotta get on the plane.
I gotta get it. Director Wheeler.
I'll just do a quick recap. SK football is all wrapped up. I think we had good success across all the age groups this year, which will be a good pipeline for the high school program in years to come. Will and I had the pleasure of coaching a football team with Will. We did pretty well on the season. Didn't end up quite like we wanted because somebody was on vacation, calling offensive plays, but that was Will. Anyway, good group of kids coming up. Like I said, all levels, and it provides hopefully Andy and his group a lot of wishful thinking for years to come. I think we should be pumping 20 to 25 kids in each class if we keep up the numbers, so, which is a good thing. Good problem to have. One thing, we have our league-wide 12 Valley football meeting, and a big push for them this year is getting girls flag football as a sanctioned spring sport in the youth levels, and I know that pairs well with the high school. Brian Scott and
Yep.
Coach Sexton are the leads on that, right?
Yes.
So I want to have a conversation with them at another time about how they can help drive some of that support, because I think it is a big thing. I think 2028, the Olympics are going to have that as a official event. So we need to get some interest in that at the younger ranks. So anyway, that's it.
Thanks, Director Wheeler.
Vice Chair Johnson, I do have one thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I've been looking at the CMGC proposals that we received. Really happy to report, I think I've got 9 of them. And so however we got that many responses, it's finally starting to work. And sign of a hungry economy of contractors too, so. I'm just about through them, but good job creating a buzz and getting us some numbers.
Yeah.
That was it.
Thank you, Director Berman.
One last thing, a quick shout out to the grounds crew. As the leaves fall, the work really stacks up for those guys and gals across the maintenance and the janitorial group. So I appreciate their hard work. They were out there picking up dry leaves today, which is a lot easier than picking up wet ones tomorrow. So good job to them. Kudos to that group.
Thanks, Director Wheeler. I'll just give a thanks to all the teachers and staff for the constant communication about our children, or my children's progress in school. And I would say this is probably year one, where Parker, my 7th grader, loves every lunch and tells me about it every day. So that's great. I also have a senior and who's able to work, take college classes, and take a couple of the required classes that he needs here. So grateful that we have these options for our kids. It's very beneficial for kids to be involved in as many, in my opinion, as many avenues of education as they possibly can. So that's it for me. We'll move to district reports, and I'll invite Maggie and Danny.
Good evening, School Board. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. For our November communications report, some of our projects in progress right now, we are gearing up for conferences November 24th and 25th, so talking with families about why we really encourage that, some tips for it, and then just working with our translators and interpreters to ensure that our Spanish-speaking families have accommodations to engage in that activity as well. We also have just started our principal video series portion of our Super 60 Seconds. This is just a fun time over the next month to showcase each of our principals and the work that's going on in each of our buildings. We kicked off with Sarah Shields this week. Next week is the high school with Leah Rydell. And then we are also really intentionally working to amp up some of our social media features. It is a tough time out in the world right now, and so we just want to intentionally celebrate as many wins that our students and staff are celebrating as possible. And so I was collecting some stats on our social media campaign, and I wanted to illustrate how dominant Estacada is in the social media scene. And it's really important for us because we don't have newspaper coverage that many other districts may have. We can't as easily access TV news coverage. So Facebook is really one of the best ways that we're able to get our story out. And we are just such a geographically large district that people are engaging on Facebook more than anything else. So I created a per capita count. It was how many students we have versus how many followers we have on Facebook. We have 1.5 followers per student, and that is double the engagement of most of our nearby districts in Clackamas County. The average district following is 0.9 followers per student, so we are outperforming our peers by 68% on social media. So we really try hard to have some fun stories out there. And then over the last month, while we've been really focusing on it, we've had 2,100 interactions over a 28-day period, and that's people that are commenting, liking, sharing. They're actually interacting with our posts. But 89,000 people have been exposed to our content over the past 28 days. So we are really increasing our reach beyond just Estacada, which is exciting. And then we recently had a Facebook Live with Superintendent Carpenter last week to talk about some really important topics, and we had over 4,000 people that were able to view that. So just an effective way to get communication out there. There is so much communication that we are pumping out, so sometimes things get missed, and we're just really trying to get things in front of as many people as possible. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about that, but it's been a fun focus for us. Some of our completed projects, our parent experience survey, communication. I know Superintendent Carpenter will be talking about that more, but we got good engagement and we got some strong early results, although we have some opportunities for improvement that we're excited about. As I mentioned, we had our Facebook Live event. We have a first draft of a community mailer in front of you. We hope to get this out at the holidays. That is when people open their physical mail the most because they are looking for holiday cards instead of bills and tax statements. So we're looking forward to taking advantage of that. It is a draft, and we have about a week that we'll continue to tweak. So if you see anything you'd like changed, especially in your board bios, please let us know. Danny or I would be happy to make any changes for you. So we're looking forward to getting that in mailboxes soon. And then another thing that we're really excited for is our thankful video feature. We've been asking kids what they're thankful for, and we just look forward to some light, wonderful content like that. It's been great to hear what students are thankful for and pretty heartwarming. A RISE committee update. Our RISE committee members have been really engaged with our schools. Danny might talk a little bit more about this, but they recently tabled at one of our football games. They went on a community walkthrough of our schools with some staff members, and then they have been really focused on topics that impact some of our families, like when we didn't have SNAP benefits, and our policy towards immigration. Our meetings were live streamed for a while, then some public meeting law changed, and we decided not to live stream them, and due to their feedback, we'll be starting to live stream them again. We really want it to be as available to the public as possible. So we're excited to make those changes, and for the next 2 months, we are bumping up their scheduled meeting date due to holiday conflicts, so we will be meeting with them next week, and we're excited to continue those conversations. I'll turn it over to Danny.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My wife's on Facebook, and I hear her all the time saying, can I friend you? Or can someone friend her? Now, this may be a stupid question.
No, it's good, it's good.
Have we ever gone out to the news media and said, hey, can I friend you? Or how would you get the information to them on a continual basis? You know, because she gets all kinds of junk, and she's just like, I don't want this and I don't want that, you know, but if we don't put our face out there is what I'm thinking, nobody's gonna come and ask us unless there's something important that happens. So if we could friend, and this may be a dumb question, if we could friend, you know, each one of the TV people and see what we could do, I mean, if you don't ask, they're probably not gonna come out here and see us. But
I
think it'd
completely
be
agree.
nice. And I look at that thing that comes on our email almost every day.
Oh, the OSBA?
Yeah, and I go through that, and I look at Portland, and I look at the state, and I look at, you know, what's going on. And I mentioned before, we're hardly ever on there. But there's gotta be a better way to get us into the media's eyes and ears. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
It is tough. So how it works so far is I do pitch stories pretty regularly to each news network. I have their emails, I have their cell phone numbers. I have pretty good relationships with K2 and KGW News. So I'm always texting them and emailing them when we have a story that's worthy of coverage. Sometimes it gets picked up, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on how busy the news cycle is at that time. I have noticed that there is definitely a preference towards negative news, so getting a positive story picked up can be challenging. You can also tag news organizations on social media. They get thousands of tags every day, so it's hard to stand out, so that's why I like having those text relationships. We really try. I think the hardest thing is that a lot of other communities like Westland or Lake Oswego, they have a local newspaper that is dedicated to their community, and they won't cover Estacada. But we no longer have an Estacada newspaper. There is a reporter that covers Gresham, Sandy, Estacada, Colton, and Malala, I think are his coverage areas right now. He covers our school sports. He comes out for things like graduation, but getting him beyond that is really hard. So that's why we've been doing so much of our own storytelling. But to answer your question, we are always pitching things to news media. We could definitely be more aggressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So on to our community engagement, some recent highlights. As we talk about social media, this is just something I wanted to show that was a successful event that we had at the school, and then also our community really enjoyed, which was a new tradition that we wanted to start celebrating our seniors and our incoming kindergarten class. So if you look at the photo there, those are some of our seniors, and those are our class of 2038 kinders. Those seniors were able to give a t-shirt to those little kindergartners, and they gave them notes of encouragement and just drawings and things like that. It's something that was really special, and we all enjoyed, all age groups. Parents of the kinders were able to come and watch, and it was just very heartwarming to see the new group of Estacada students kind of meeting and looking up to the class that's graduating quickly, so it's quickly approaching. These are the things that we're hopeful to keep sharing, keep looking for traditions that we can maintain so that our community can, you know, always look out for these fun things like the thankful videos and things of this nature that kind of heartwarming, great things to show pride. As our fall home games are wrapping up, I just wanted to acknowledge the success that we had hosting Rangers home games. There is a big group of people behind the scenes always working to make sure that things run smoothly. That's including, you know, our team and Josh and his interns, but not just them, but our maintenance and our facilities and of course athletics, all coming together, making sure all of our, you know, T's are crossed and our dots are I'd, I's are dots. But, you know, really making sure that when our community comes in and they see our level of professionalism and what the expectations that we hold, you know, our staff and our buildings to, I think that really just shows a lot of pride in what we do, and then our community leaves these events with a lot of school pride as well. So we're looking forward to maintaining that level of professionalism and customer service, and then hopefully making it better every season. Parent tours are on there with the upcoming reconfiguration and obviously the growing enrollment. There's a lot of new families that are coming into our district that are curious about different schools or wanting to know more about us, and we just really enjoyed the opportunity to make the connections, provide school tours to families that are curious or kids that want to see what their new lunchroom's going to look like and really ease those fears. That's always something that we have out on the table for our community, and if anybody is interested, feel free to reach out and we can help you make those connections and answer those questions and hopefully make visiting a new school and joining a new school as easy as possible for these kids. And then looking ahead, the next couple months are always fun with the end of the year. So I'm getting the privilege of working with the City of Estacada on the Thriving Community Program, specifically our Safe Routes to School Action Plan. So this is just a program that comes together with the city, and I will help them with collecting data, enrollment information, and perform audits to really check on the safety of our students coming and going from school. This is great timing. As we all know, reconfiguration is coming and parents are concerned with the increase of walkers. So I'll be helping out with them. Really, this is a program that's going to allow them to be prepared and eligible for grant opportunities for infrastructure. So we're happy to help. We want to partner with our community to make sure that our students feel safe and our parents feel comfortable with them coming and going. As Maggie mentioned, Inside Estacada Schools will be hitting mailboxes shortly. We're really looking forward to our community getting that, seeing the information that we have and our fun stories. And then holiday performances are this time of year also. So we have our little elementary students will be filling up our gyms and singing their hearts out, and we're just happy to help promote events, print posters, and help market anything to get these families in our buildings and get to see our students perform.
The Christmas Carol is, I believe, this Friday. We have some information on our social media. It's a fundraiser, so we'd like to invite as many people as possible to that. We interviewed some kids about it to get the news out there and hopefully get some more community members in to support them in the great program that they're putting on. Any more questions?
The questions, I guess, just a reminder or a thanks that whatever the structure is, our teachers are able to provide conferences in the daytime and in the evening on separate days. So for folks to check their inboxes to schedule a time to jump in there, I think that's very helpful for, you know, both working parents or anybody else that to provide those conferences at different times of day. So we're grateful that they do that.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Those, the 12 to 8 day, those evening slots really do fill up, so there's definitely a need for it. We appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And we are going to finance and accountability. Scott.
All right. So we'll start off with the enrollment report for November, and it's a little bit light to see, but you can see that we're trending fairly similarly to the way that we've trended in the past. A slight decline in the enrollment as we go through the year. Hopefully we see something like we saw last year where we get a bump up in the spring. A lot of that has to do with housing coming online. And when that comes, then the students come. So, is there any questions on the enrollment? We're tracking a little bit higher than what we told the state we were going to be receiving. And so we make that adjustment typically in the month of December, early December, and we reconcile the current year, and then we make predictions on next year's enrollment. And that is due to the state before Christmas.
Scott, two quick questions.
Sure.
You said we're tracking a little bit higher, or the prediction was a little bit higher than we are?
No, our prediction is a little bit lower. So we're tracking a little higher than what we had predicted, which is a good thing. So we can adjust that, and then when we adjust that, we should see some increase in state school fund support in the current year.
So we predicted 1,965 students, that's what we budgeted under, and we're at 1,985, so we're about 30 students more than we projected we would. Maybe more than that, 50.
Does that true up happen in December or May?
May, go ahead.
We do one true up in the middle of the year, or I like to do one true up in the middle of the year. So we will do that in December, and the first time we will see any reflection of that will be in the January state school fund payment.
Just out of curiosity, do they make up the back in
Yeah,
the
they
next
do.
5 payments or whatever the case is? Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
they
that makes
do,
sense.
and then, and so that's kind of what, we call that a mid-year true up.
Yeah.
And then the May adjustment that you've heard many times over, I'm sure by whoever sat in this chair before, that goes back for the entire year plus the year prior and makes any kind of adjustments there. And that, typically, if you are in a growing district and your enrollment projections are a little lower than what actually comes in, much like we are right now, the May surprise is typically positive.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
So,
Hey, great questions. The other thing is do you have a feeling of other school districts and what they're trending? Is it lower projections than the years past?
We're the only school district in Clackamas County that's growing in enrollment. Everyone else is losing significantly.
Sorry for another question on enrollment, but
problem.
Maggie referenced rolling enrollment, so I'm assuming that we're expecting additional enrollments, because it seems flat on this, or flattening out, like it has in prior years. Do we expect more enrollments in second semester?
We are, yeah, based on the houses that we do project will be online. I did get a report from the city that the housing occupancy is a little bit slower this year than the last 2 years combined, but just with the apartments being filled back up and
Yeah.
houses being completed, we do anticipate to see some more, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Then we go to your general cash flow analysis report, and that is tracking normally. No real surprises there. I mentioned in my written report why we have a negative revenue in the local revenue, and that was just a timing of how we record property taxes. When we were doing audit prep, we discovered that we had made a mistake, and so that's a correction of that mistake. You will see that local enrollment number will bounce up pretty significantly in November, the current month that we are in, simply because that number is made up mostly of property tax revenue for our district. And expenditures are tracking as normal. And yeah, are there any questions along that with the written report? I can say that we did get some really good responses to our CMGC solicitation for our seismic grant, so we're excited about that. I think those reports are due in tomorrow, or the scoring sheets, so we'll select the CMGC person or company rather, excuse me, and then the engineering firms are putting together the final schematics, so we'll have a meeting of those two groups before the end of the calendar year, and make some plans and make sure that we get a good guaranteed maximum price, but we expect good positive results from that.
Noticed in your written report, you talked about the funding from the state, which I really appreciate, that you're being proactive on that. I used to tell people that worked for me, and I think it applies here, is that it's very easy to manage in an up and growing economy.
It is.
You find out who the real managers are when we have a downturn, but hopefully we're being proactive and that doesn't happen.
In terms of dates, we did hear on Monday the report of what ODE has presented to the Legislative Fiscal Office in terms of how they would go about a 2.5% and a 5% cut. So we have details on that. Mostly the focus has been from them, have been on CTE programs, high school success, and SIA areas. Both of those areas don't directly impact our general fund as much. They do have some indirect relates because we do spend money on that we don't have to spend from the general fund, right? So if those cuts do end up coming, we will fill them. That information has been delivered to the Legislative Fiscal Office. They are going to wait likely until they hear back from the latest November economic forecast, which I believe is on the 19th.
Yeah, that's right.
And so when that comes out, we should hear something around December, excuse me, as to kind of what the plan is in terms of either this year or next year, rolling into all the cuts into next year.
So in that meeting, you were given recommendations of places to cut?
No, the state had actually, the state was asked to project what it would look like to have a 2.5% and a 5% cut. And so they were predicting what they thought was important to do in terms of all the programs that they had to choose from. And so that's where they kind of focused on
I want to make sure
construction excise tax.
we still have choice here though, right?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure their recommendations would be different than this group.
for sure.
It would be,
I want to make sure we still have the space to do that.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we do. The projections right now are at the state level, and after the economic revenue forecast, November 19th, we'll solidify what the state's recommendations will be, and that includes education, state police, state parks, all the state level stuff. And then, actually, nothing becomes actually real until the legislature comes back in the February short session, because they have to vote on all of that. And so that will be ugly as people's pet projects and different legislative things will come. Lobbyists will be working very hard. So really, it won't be probably till February or March until we're told, like, okay, here's how much money we're gonna give you.
A little late.
And then we get to play the game of how to make that balance. And so we're building plans in the background and trying to prepare for what that looks like, but there's just so much unknown right now that we're just hanging tight.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Joe said, I think we spent a lot of time on engaging in SIA.
Yep.
And,
Student
and
investment
now
account.
we're investing a lot in CTE.
Yes.
That it wouldn't make sense to go that direction. I know we'll get to those conversations later, but,
Yeah.
thanks, Joe, for asking.
Yep. That will be tricky though, for sure.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, because I know the board really prioritizes our students' involvement in FFA, and the complete state cut of the whole state FFA program is in their proposed cuts. Yeah, the whole thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
While we're talking about budgets and money and all that stuff, this week in the news, the kicker tax in Oregon is a big conversation. Can you explain to, I don't know if we have 20 or 300,000 people on YouTube,
Sure.
but can you explain how that is kind of two totally different worlds than what we're talking about right now, and why some of us or none of us will get a refund,
Sure, sure.
and how that doesn't affect us at the schools?
Well, yeah, so the kicker actually is a look back program. So in the 23-25 biennium, it goes on the biennium. The kicker amount is determined on whether or not the state economists guess wrong. And so they will guess or estimate what kind of revenues they expect to get in the biennium. And if they receive more revenues than they had estimated, that amount of revenues will go back in the form of a kicker. And so essentially, that has already happened. So that money is, has been collected, it's sitting there. We are still earning interest on it, which is a good thing as the state, I think. But then we push that back out, and we'll push that back out in the state income tax returns. So you and I, or whoever will file the state income tax, will get a kicker amount as a credit. We don't no longer do the checks. That amount of money is separate from the budgeting process. That's not included in the budgeting process, which started for this biennium, started last spring. And so subsequently, they don't know what the kicker amount's going to be. They don't know how to access that. The only thing that we have as a state that helps support education is our Education Stability Fund, which was put together after the last depression, or not depression, but recession, the Great Recession. And we have about, $1.9 billion, billion with a B in there. And the legislature will consider that as they decide whether or not they're going to either keep education whole this year or next year, or whatever the equation is going to be. So, but unfortunately, that state kicker law goes back, and there's really nothing we can do about it. It's just part of the process.
And as far as that is that the rainy day fund that you hear about?
There's two, there's the stability fund and the rainy day fund, yeah, but
And
they're
you
the
said that
same
was
thing,
Under 2 billion?
1.9 billion.
And the state school fund on a biennium, last time, we talked about it last meeting, I can't remember the number, was it?
11.36 billion,
So it's not a fraction, but
yeah,
it would help backfill a little bit of it.
yeah. And there's mixed reviews in Salem as to use it or not. You know, they're predicting that it's still going to get worse before it gets better. And so there are some down in Salem that are hesitant to allocate this because it's one-time money, use it or not. But there's also a very strong lobby to just take a little chunk of it to ease some of the burden, particularly for some districts like Salem-Kaiser, who already laid off $20 million last year. Like, how can you kind of soften that blow a little bit? But at the end of the day, that's entirely out of our control. There's two ways to access that stability fund, and that's either a 2/3 vote from the legislature or the governor declares an emergency, are the two ways to use that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Scott. Before we go to the superintendent's report, I did want to call out for the board members that in the operations report, there's a lot of detail that 4 departments, technology, nutrition, maintenance, and transportation put together for us. So if you have a time to read through and wanted to publicly thank them for putting in the report for us, it's very helpful to see what's going on in the district. So Superintendent Carpenter?
Thank you, and thank you for that call out. They work very hard on that, and I appreciate you taking the time to say that. So the superintendent report, 2 things today, one longer than the other. I'm excited to be able to roll out to the executive board of directors the voices from our employees, parents, and students. And again, the building of our scorecard in alignment with our 5-year strategic plan so that we can convey to the community who elected you and hired us to execute the mission, vision, values of this district, that we're doing what we said we would do. A couple of things. First, I just wanted to let the board know and the community that I had the pleasure last week to meet with Senator Christine Drazen and Oregon gubernatorial candidate. Had the great opportunity to be able to show her around the district, as well as to talk to her about some alternative ways to improve infrastructure and upgrade facilities, particularly for communities who are unable to be successful in a construction bond campaign. Then also had the opportunity to take her through Orchid Health, our student and community-based health center located on campus next to Estacada High School. We serve roughly 3,000 people inside that health center. We are bursting at the seams there. It's the only close local healthcare, with the exception of driving into Clackamas, Portland, etc., which we know a lot of our community members can't do. And so it has become the sole source point for many in our community to have their children receive medical aid, including our community as well. And so was really hoping to begin the partnership of building what potentially a grant or some type of funding package and some of her legislative ideas as a way to help us upgrade those facilities to better serve and support our community. So it was very positive. Senator Drazen has always been a great friend and partner of the Estacada School District, and we're excited to have the opportunity to expand that partnership. Win or lose, she's been a great advocate for Estacada schools. The other thing I did want to point out regarding enrollment that you had asked about in terms of more people coming in, one of the things that we're seeing a theme of over the course of the last 2 years, because of our award-winning inclusive practices and how we serve and support students serve with special education, we're seeing more and more families moving out to Estacada because of the experiences that we're giving to students served in special education. And so some of that growth and influx is actually students from other school districts moving out here through special education purposes. And the reason why I point that out from a financial perspective is the state only pays every single district a limit of up to 11% in double-weighted special education funding. So to say this publicly, to simplify this, we receive about $10,000 per student. And if a student is served in special education, then we get a second weight for the special education. So a special education student is roughly about $20,000 to us to serve and educate that. But the problem is the Estacada School District is 16% special education. And so since we only get paid at 11%, that means that 5% of the students coming to us, we just get normal weighting for. And obviously they require additional staffing and services. And so Vice Chair Johnson, I just wanted to point that out as well, as we do continue to get more families, some of which are choosing our services because of what we do, that we are at an economic disadvantage from the state in terms of supporting them.
A quick question on that.
Yeah.
Because I used to do reporting for a virtual school a long time
Yeah.
ago. 11% has been there
Forever.
for a long time.
Yes.
Has
Yep.
there been any discussion of
Yeah,
increasing
in
that
fact,
percentage?
our lobbyists at Public Education, and there was a lot of conversation in this last biennium to move that 11% up to 15%. But at the end of the day, with some of the other economic things and Department of Transportation having their financial meltdowns, that got kicked to the curb. And so we're back to the original 11%.
I would say most of our school districts, ours doing well and better than others, are better identifying kids earlier, so
Yes.
they're finding more or a higher percentage.
Correct.
So that
Yeah.
needs to be,
Yep, no, you're absolutely right about that.
As a person or a student is identified, what is the indicator? Is it they're on a IEP or they're on a?
Correct, yes. And so an IEP is the legal documentation that classifies them as a student being served with special education services. An IEP stands for Individual Education Plan. But to get there, there's a process, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so really quickly, my intention is to be able to share with the board the survey results as well as our planning based on this voice. And so just very quickly, wanted to remind the board that we're in year 3 of 5 of our strategic plan. We've had a very successful strategic plan in this iteration, and I just wanted to share with the board some of the accomplishments and accolades that have come just in year 3 of our 5-year plan. And first to state and stipulate that the Estacada School District in each year has been voted by its employees as one of the top workplaces in the state of Oregon. We continue to be the only public education institution to be recognized with this award. We've won it 6 years in a row now, and we're very excited and proud of that. In fact, last year, the employees scored us at a high enough range in comparison to other private companies and public companies that our score placed us as one of the top workplaces in the entire United States of America. And so this is a tremendous win, and we want to thank our hardworking employees, and this is their voice talking about their organization and what it's like to work here. We've worked very hard on that, and I'm very proud of that accomplishment. We've also been the recipient of a both state and national audit award. Obviously, we build trust in our community by taking great care of taxpayer dollars. And a couple of years ago, we were one of only 13 school districts in the state of Oregon to win this award, and we're very proud that we're being good stewards of taxpayer money, and that's being recognized through a clean audit. We've also won various individual awards, both locally, state, and across the country. And I wanted to just point up here as well that last year, our first ever men's volleyball team won the state championship. We had an athlete, Abby Berman, last year win the state championship in 2 track and field events. And Andrew Rydell last year also won the state championship as a solo tenor, maybe baritone. I'm sorry about that if I got that wrong. But I just wanted to point this out because the board has supported the financial investments of our athletic facilities and our arts facilities. And it's important to underline that this district truly focuses on academics, athletics, and the arts, the whole child. And this investment is parlaying into individual and team success. And as we know, these are the memories we remember for a lifetime. And this investment is truly making a difference in kids' lives and experiences. So in 3 years of our 5-year strategic plan, the Estacada School District continues to lead both nationally and in the state when it comes to being an organization of excellence. So starting with our employees, we had a 92% participation rate in our employee satisfaction or employee engagement survey. We scored a 4.17 out of 5. This is one of the highest scores that we have ever started with to start a school year, and we're very proud of that feedback. The 3 top scoring pieces of the survey from the voices of our employees, number 1 at 4.57 out of 5, I believe the work positively impacts those we serve. So our educators, our support staff, our bus drivers are reporting back to us that they are seeing the value in their work each and every single day, and that's a high accomplishment. 4.56 out of 5, I have a clear understanding of the mission and goals of my districts. Now, I like this one because I'm a nerd, but at the same time, this tells me that our organization understands what we stand for and the direction that we're headed. If you compare this score to the thousands of other school districts who take this survey across the country, the fact that we have clarity in our direction is a major win and accomplishment, and that's thanks to the strategic plan and the great leadership that we have. 4.41 out of 5, I believe that leaders in my immediate work environment are genuinely concerned for my welfare. Public education is very tricky these days. It's more than just teaching reading, math, and science. There's a lot of work that we have to do with mental health and supporting different families in different situations and circumstances. And we have an administrative group that genuinely care about the people that we're working with. And so this is great feedback on that. In terms of the bottom 3 scores from the voices of our employees, 3.76, I believe that district level resources are allocated to maximize effectiveness across the organization. We've had the opportunity to unpack this a little bit so that we can build improvement plans, and a lot of this it's tied directly to just communication of how and why the district is spending money. Air conditioning continues to be the #1 theme, and so when we spend a dollar somewhere else and not on air conditioning, that impacts that score. And then secondly, obviously our reconfiguration plans also play a role in that as well. And so those are the 2 key drivers of that. 3.89, I feel supported in balancing my work responsibilities. Like I said before, the evolution of public education and what we ask public educators to do continues to grow, and we need to be mindful of ensuring that our folks are healthy and that what they're doing on a daily basis is efficient and manageable. 3.95 out of 5, I feel the district culture supports open and honest communication. Again, we've actually scored quite high in this area. This is the first time that it's been in the bottom 3. And again, when asked our employees and their ability to give feedback on this, this is directly tied to reconfiguration. And again, we've slow played that on purpose because we wanted to, 1, get the school year started, 2, build great relationships with our students, and 3, this time right now from October to November is the longest uninterrupted time of the school year. And so we wanted to stay focused on just plowing through to make sure our students are achieving at high levels. We've just now begun the conversation about who's going where, what that looks like internally with our employees. So I do expect this to go up, but because we were silent on this as we tried to be distraction-free in the classroom, correlated to us hiding things. And so we're working through that, and I'm confident that we're going to see growth in that, and we've already begun that process. So just quickly, there's open-ended comments. I'm going to breeze through this, but here are the 4 themes from our employees of what's going well: a collaborative culture and a strong sense of community, clear communication and transparent leadership, which is different than the open and honest communication. So you can see how there's a correlation to that. Continuous improvement and systems alignment and supportive leadership, and a positive work environment. We ask our organization who has been particularly or specifically helpful to them and their success in our school district. As you can see, 73 people were named. These are the people that I can see that I can leverage and lean on to support us as we go through changes. But I did want to highlight River Mill Elementary School, Lindsay Fullenwider, who was mentioned 89 times and continues to be absolutely phenomenal. And I know those are hard to read, but if you look at the top 5, 6, 7, those are all of our principals and vice principals. And so again, when you talk about servant leadership and dynamic leadership, you know, in most organizations, those are the least people that you recognize. And for them to be the most recognized speaks volumes to the leadership that we've hired inside our organization. This is a new one. This is more of a private business score that we've participated in over the last 2 years, and it's all about a net promoter. We want people to be proud to say they work in the Estacada School District when out in the community. And so we do measure the score when it comes to the district, when it comes to employees recommending the organization as a good place to work. We scored a 33.07. This is the highest score we have ever scored in the 2 years of looking at this. And you can see that falls in the range of organization is doing great with more happy constituents than unhappy ones. And then when you boil that down to the place that they work, so the transportation department, Estacada Middle School, like their specific work site, we scored a 43.15. Again, a record score for us, and that falls into the same category. And this is a great one for me to see and for you to see as well, as we try to promote a culture that is driven towards high academic learning and just a great place to work and service excellence. You can see if you just look at the bottom one, we have 180 people in our organization that scored the Estacada School District either a 9 or a 10. We've got 72 people that scored it a 7 or an 8, or I would call them kind of on the fence. Maybe they're new, they're watching, they're trying to feel some things out. And we've got 51 people who scored it between a 0 and a 6. So this is a great indication for me about the culture and what do we need to do to continue to recruit and retain the 180. And then we also need to take a deep look at the 51, because these are the people traditionally that will hurt culture and or hurt the organization because they're a detractor, not a promoter. And so how do we build them up or build them out as we try to improve our culture in those ways? So here is the schools from the voices of our employees. River Mill is the winner at 4.31. Estacada Middle School and Estacada High School are right there in the hunt. Clackamas River scored a 3.98. There's some opportunities for growth there, but still that's a decent score. But at the end of the day, again, this ties back to reconfiguration. And we know we have some folks that have been in that building a very long time, and the prospects of potentially moving to River Mill has anxiety a little bit high right now. But I'm confident that we can work through that process. Special education in terms of district departments scored the highest at 3.96, nutrition services after that, transportation, and then facilities at 3.65. Again, some cultural work to do in our maintenance and custodial department, but again, I'm confident that we can work through that to see great improvement. Any questions on the departments or the people?
On the facilities, does that mean the survey, they said, what do you think of our facilities?
No, it was the same questions of my leader's a good leader, I love working here. You know, some of those top 3, like these, there's like 15 questions, but they took the exact same question. Where this boils down to, particularly when it comes to leadership and communication, is this summer, John Simpson, who does a great job for us, made an unpopular change, and we hire night custodians and we hire daytime custodians. And in the summertime, we merge them together to all work days. And we realized that through data, our productivity wasn't as good as we wanted it to be for 2 reasons. 1, there was just a lot of people doing redundant type work. And 2, because of the growth of our school district size and community, our gyms are being used until 10 o'clock every single night, every night, and we didn't have the custodial staff. And so in August, we went back to night and day, and the night crew was pretty disappointed that they had to go back to nights.
Thanks.
and we'll work on that. Yep.
Ryan, out of curiosity, you said there was 92 participants?
Yep, 92%
92%.
of our, and we have about 310 employees.
Do you have an idea of the number of people who provided open-ended comments?
Yes, although I'd have to get back to you on specific numbers, but this is
Is it over
typical.
50%
Oh, yeah.
that provided
It's
open-ended
probably
comments?
90%, yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
some provided multiple suggestions and wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, so parent satisfaction, again, we had great parent participation. This is the most important place where we can make sure that we're doing what we are striving to do through the strategic plan. We scored a 3.91 out of 5 from the eyes of our parents. This is the highest score we have ever had in the fall time. Last fall, this was 3.76, so we've already started way ahead from where we were in the past, and we're very proud of that. Here are the top 3 things from the voices of our parents. 4.26, I'm treated with respect at this school, very important. 4.16, I feel comfortable approaching school administration. Again, we continue to have great leaders in our school buildings. And 4.09, I believe the teachers, staff, and administration at the school demonstrate a genuine concern for my child. So that speaks about relationships that we're building in a positive way. So happy to hear this from our employees, and these are the things we want to intentionally keep doing so that we can build that relationship with our constituents, the people we serve. What's going well from the open-ended comments, the theme is strong relationships and a supportive culture and effective communication and meaningful learning opportunities. So this is condensed to really put those all together. The bottom 3, I regularly receive feedback from my school staff on how well my child is doing. And 2, tied for the lowest, I receive positive phone calls, emails, or notes about my child from the school. So this is one-to-one communication, teacher to family, and we're going to do some more intentional strategies in an effort to improve that. Parent-teacher conferences always boost this score because it's really the first time in the year that they get to have that one-on-one interaction with their child's teacher. And then I believe school rules are enforced fairly. That's actually yellow. This was a 3.49 last year. And so while it's one of the lowest 3, we saw a great jump when it comes to our school rules and enforcements. And we revamped our school handbooks at all schools. We're aligned. We have a new software program when it comes to student discipline. So I'm really pleased to see this jump from the eyes of our parents. The 2 things. Yep, there we go. Timely and actionable communication. And by the way, I'm hearing quite a bit about the fact that we have too much communication. And I would rather be accused of that, but at the same time, I hear that loud and clear. And the problem is a lot of important things are getting missed because we are shooting our parents with a fire hose when it comes to communication. And so we do need to audit what we're sending out there so that we can make sure that the most important things aren't getting missed and or skipped. Student satisfaction, overall mean score 3.94 out of 5. Again, this is the highest score that we've had. We were a 3.62 last year, and so our students are also noting improvements to start the school year. Top 3, I enjoy specials or electives. I think one of our board members today was talking about our investments in CTE and elective opportunities, and that's resonating very positively with our kids. 4.2, I believe learning is important at my school. I hope that that's a top 3, so we're thumbs up on that. 4.19, I believe my principal is a good leader. So again, the relationships that we're building, even at the administrative level. 3.48, I feel students are nice and show respect to each other at my school. This is growth, but this is an area that we, the entire Estacada community, both parents, community, and the school district, has a responsibility to work through this. And we have our own challenges inside of that we're trying to improve. I like going to my school each day, and I feel like I belong at school. Again, our bottom 3 and opportunities for us to improve that culture in each and every single one of our school buildings.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm really surprised that those were that high with with no cell phones now.
Yes,
I
yeah.
really am, I
you know-
expected those to drop.
I agree with you, Director Walper. I am pleasantly surprised with how our kids have responded with no cell phones as well. It's really been awesome, and I anticipated battle after battle after battle, and everyone just seems to be pretty pleased with how things are going. And there's some loopholes and shortcuts, and we're still recorrecting, but at the same time, it's significantly better.
That's great.
Yep. District services, again, this is customer service or service excellence. And you can just see here that overall, we scored the district office and its services to the people who need it most scored a 4.53 out of 5. You can kind of see there in no particular order how each of the departments scored and ranked. I do want to give the business department a big shout out at 4.53. This was in the low 5s last year, so Scott and his team are already making an instant impact positively with some great feedback with opportunities to improve. So great job in that one. And our tech department is amazing at 4.81. Find me another tech department in any other organization that is loved as much as ours. I dare you. They're just doing phenomenal work in a very technology-heavy organization. So here are the 3 things that the district office and its service does well. Accessibility, that's great, we're reachable. Accuracy, that's important. And attitude, we come with a smile each and every single time. And an opportunity for us to grow is just timeliness and getting people what they need in a faster way. But I do want to point out that's a 4.45 out of 5. Like even that is excellent.
I was gonna say that, it seems like pretty high
Yep,
for.
but in our method, we always improve the lowest score. And so even though this is good, it's our responsibility to continue to improve and maintain. So the board has in front of them the 2026 strategic plan scorecard. And so these numbers are how we're going to hold ourselves accountable to our community of doing what we said we would do. And so you can see in the right line there that has kind of the black boxes, fall 25, that is the scores, the mean scores of the survey from parents, employees, and students, in addition to some of the other things that we work on. And you can see the red numbers is that meaningful movement and targets that we're going to try to hit from now until the end of the school year. We're all about continuous improvement and about achieving those benchmarks that we promised our community we would hit. And this is what separates our school district from other school districts, is we're local, we have true vision and values, and we work hard to intentionally hit those values, different than a lot of school districts that you read about in those OSBA, where they run kind of on their own silo and don't necessarily represent their community as much as other communities desire. So I'm proud of that, and this is what we'll be monitoring throughout the rest of the school year as we try to hit those marks.
How did you come up with the red ones?
Great question. So about 5 years ago, well, first of all, the Studer survey is a nationally normed survey. And so they have a sliding scale of wherever you score, they have different ranking systems for meaningful movement. And so, like, for example, the one that's a 4.17, the second one down there, the science would say that our goal should be to try to improve that by 0.05. If we do that, we've hit our mark, and if we exceed that, that's great. But like a 391, the data would say we need to improve that score by 0.10. And so just the science behind it kind of gives us suggestions of what meaningful movement is, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, that
Yep.
makes sense, but do we get buy-in on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
I mean, I
because.
just don't want a computer run out. and-
We get 100% buy-in on that, and in addition to that, 50% of all of our administrators' evaluation is tied to hitting those marks, and 50% of my evaluation that you have of me is tied to me hitting the big marks.
Right.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that the employees have buy-in on this.
They do. Obviously, some of them are the takers of this. And so, for example, River Mill Elementary School has their own scorecard tied directly to their local numbers, and the principal and vice principal are responsible for hitting those benchmarks. But in order to do that, they have to get collaboration and buy-in from the employees to improve the bottom 3 scores. And so they're the ones constantly giving us feedback of, are we improving like you wanted us to?
And so that's how that exchange works.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Great question.
The good thing is I don't have to give my inner Rydell to explain the significance of
Yes.
the statistical improvement and anything over 4, because you just did it, so that's.
All right.
I felt like I had to
There you
speak for Ken there
Yeah.
when he,
There you
because
go.
every year he explains the same thing and he wants to make sure everybody hears that.
Yep, well, we took care of it in honor of him today, but that is your superintendent's report. How did I do?
So good.
Great.
30 minutes.
All right, ish?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hit it.
Any questions for Superintendent Carpenter? Okay. Moving on to G, and it's discussion.
No discussion.
None.
G?
Are we doing, no.
Oh, sorry.
Let's not skip F.
Sorry. Sorry, Andy. F with athletic fall report with Cap. Andy Mott. Sorry, Andy.
No, it's all good. Thanks for having me. All right, thanks for having me tonight. Appreciate it. Excited to see you guys and give our fall athletics report and kind of give you a rundown of all of our fall athletics teams, kind of their successes, and also all of our all-league kids and their awards that they've received as well. So throw this up there. So we had about 206 kids that participated this year in fall athletics. You can see the breakdown by sport there for all of our teams. It's across the board. Middle school had 76 kids, and obviously we offer volleyball and cross country, so between those two sports. But those were our breakdown of data on our numbers for teams and amount of kids. Football was one sport that had all-state top 10 for our GPA, so we had a 3.3 GPA. A lot of our teams are over 3, but many of them not in the top 10 in our 4A class. Cheer team, a lot more visible, as you guys probably, if you come to games and things. As far as things, they're doing an awesome job. They went to a camp this year. Like I said, they're actually going to go to Henley with us on Friday and go cheer. So, kind of all in on that. And very young team as well. And obviously, our coach has a good pipeline with the youth as well. So really, really strong cheer program that's going on right now, which is awesome. Cross country team had a great season as well. We had 26 kids that were out for cross country. And then one of our athletes plays 5th at districts, which allowed him to go to state, which was awesome. I went and checked that out last week. Went down to Lane Community College, which was a pretty awesome event. He took 33rd overall, which was really good for his first season going to state, and he's only a junior. So we had some girls that placed really well as also that'll be back next season. So yeah, good season for our cross country team. We hosted our big invite up at McIver like we always do as well. And there's Davin. He was our first team all-league cross country runner for us. And Leiden, she was our senior. She was honorable mention cross country. Miet was also honorable mention, sophomore cross country runner, and Maggie, our second team all-league senior in cross country. Oh, and sorry, one more, London, who was also an honorable mention runner for us in cross country. Unified soccer, 3rd season for unified soccer. I think we had 4 games this year, which were, again, great success for us. And the kids, they really enjoy that. We'll be starting up unified basketball. They're already practicing, and they'll play a handful of games this winter as well. And then the spring will be our kickball for unified as well. High school volleyball, it was a young team this year. Obviously had a lot of things that happened this season, growth, but kind of had a lot of resiliency. Ended up 2nd in league, and then went on to state, and they were in the first round of playoffs. I think this is our 3rd season in a row in the playoffs for volleyball. And again, like I said, 1 senior. We had 3 first-team players though that were voted on the first team. All of them underclassmen, and then 2 that were honorable mention, and they were Ella Rosema. She was honorable mention hitter. Peyton DeWitt was an honorable mention hitter. Kenzie Stubblefield was a freshman. She was first team all-league for us this season. And Abby Bean was a first team all-league setter. And Peyton Lee was a first team all-league libero on the volleyball team. Boys soccer team, their highlight of their season, they were down 4-0 to Malala, ended up coming back and tying the game 5-5. And Corey Bistonette had the game-tying goal in that game. Successful season for them. Early in the season especially got some big wins. We're looking forward to them, next year as well, with kind of a young team as well. Some all-league honors here. Henry Gaylor was honorable mention as a defender. William Ramirez was honorable mention goalkeeper. Kellen Suva, honorable mention goalkeeper. And honorable mention was Jair Pinto as a defender. And Ian Franks was our first team all-league midfielder for the boys soccer team. Girls soccer, team improved a lot. We have probably the toughest league in the state when it comes to girls soccer. So, in any other league we may have cracked the playoffs, but doubled the amount of goals that we scored this season, and then allowed 16 less goals. So, big improvements being seen from our girls soccer program. Obviously, much more competitive, and again, a very young team with a bright future. Some honorable mention honors here. Grace Sager was honorable mention goalkeeper. Etta Baird was an honorable mention defender. Addison Harriet, honorable mention defender. Madison Seal was a second team all-league defender. And Ren Su was on a second team midfielder. And then Zoe Reel, our freshman, was a first team all-league midfielder. Football, highlight for the football team, hopefully still to come, but so far our highlight is a 42-22 win last Friday against Marist, who were the defending state champs, and we'll play Friday at Henley at 6 p.m. Down in Klamath Falls at Mazama High School. Lots of honor our all-league stuff here. I'm not going to read everybody's name. I'll just pop it up there for you guys to see. But we had quite a few kids get first team. Quite a few honors across the board for all of our kids on there. So yeah, we had Willie and Blake were both first team. Hudson was a first teamer. Ashton was a first teamer on offense and defense. Noah Kim, first team, all league D-back. I won't read them all. There's a lot. Sorry. You guys can check them out. We also do a good job, too, of posting these on our social media. So Estacada Facebook, on our athletics page, we get all of our all-league kids on for all of our sports, which is something really cool that we do. So it's a good spot to check all of these things out, too. All right, and then middle school. So like I said, we had middle school volleyball. We had 26 seventh graders that were out, so a lot of kids out for volleyball this year. So a great season. They competed well. Our 8th grade team had a big season as well, and also finished with a big tournament up in the Hood River. So strong program going there with some great coaches. And so excited. A lot of these kids will move up to the high school next season, and yeah, that program's going strong. We also had middle school cross country, which is a pretty popular thing as well. We had 25 kids that ran cross country this year with the middle school and placed high in some of our meets as well. And we're kicking off winter sports Monday, so yeah, it's right back at it. So, but yeah, excited. We got boys and girls wrestling this season, and we host our Ranger Classic, our Lady Ranger Classic on a Friday night, and then our Ranger Classic on a Saturday, so that's kind of the kickoff to our season for wrestling here at Estacada, both big tournaments, and then boys and girls basketball, which are starting Monday, along with our swimming program as well. So, but yeah, it'll be a busy winter, lots of events to come check out, and yeah, excited to kick that off and get going. And then wrestling for the middle school team will start right after Christmas break. So, yeah. I think we have 125 high school kids signed up so far, but I expect that'll go up substantially as we get close to Monday, so or on Monday. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me come out and share some fall stuff. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
My usual question, just about the unified sports. Are there any more 4A schools that are around here that have been signing up to grab a hold and get those kids involved?
Malala has a really strong program, and so
Nice.
we do a lot of stuff with them. But honestly, in our league, that's really it. It's mainly Westland, Wilsonville schools. We play Sherwood. Park Rose has a big unified program as well. Wilsonville. I'm hoping more do, because I think it could take off and really get going. More schools picked it up. So yeah,
Thanks, Andy.
yeah.
Any questions for Andy?
I just wanted to commend you on the first ever in the state of Oregon outdoor volleyball game.
Oh, yeah?
That
yeah.
I almost
occurred
said
this
that earlier
fall,
when you were
too.
doing your volleyball thing,
Yes,
but I don't
yeah.
want to interrupt you, but I was like,
Yeah, no, that was really cool, and I'd like to, I think on behalf of the board, I think that's a tradition we'd like to carry on.
Cool. Yeah, they asked me after that. They're like, I think we could do it. Kids were fired up. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Awesome
kids were
event,
pumped up
so-
about it.
And spectators?
Yeah, it was a great crowd, and I wasn't sure if it was actually gonna work, like how we pieced
Yeah.
this thing together and it took about an hour to get it all set up, and, but it was super, super cool, so, yeah.
You have any plans on getting them down to the beach?
It's funny you ask that, cause I know some of our kids do that in the summertime, they're gonna play, but yeah, that'd be cool too.
There's this really good Mexican restaurant on Stark and like 160th. They got beach volleyball in the
There
back.
you go.
Nice, there we go, I like it.
Just take the
You
kids.
know, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just a 1 or 2 minute condensed version of reclassification and what that's looking like.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great thing to bring up. So every 4 years, as you may or may not know, the OSAA reclassifies based on ADM or the amount of students each school has. And so what that means is that certain schools, based on their growth or if they're actually shrinking, will be reclassified in their classification. So right now we have a 6 classification model. We're in the 4A classification. Schools like Sandy are a 6A school. Sandy's actually dropping enrollment. They're actually going to go to 5A based on the new model. We're kind of hanging right in the 4A. We actually sit as a small 4A based on our numbers, compared to a Malala, who is very high in the 4A as far as their numbers of kids. And so reclass has been a big topic over the past year. There's been multiple meetings and testimonies by leagues and schools and things like that. And so right now, the latest, they were trying to talk about condensing down to 5 classifications. And many of you would remember probably when you were in school that we had 4 classifications, or maybe even, actually I think it was 3. There was 4A, and then 3A and 2A and 1A were together. So it used to only be 3 classes, and now it's expanded all the way up to 6 different classes. There's more schools and obviously more kids, so it's kind of warranted that. But they're going to stick with 6 classifications, so where we've been. And right now, based on our update, it looks like we're going to be sitting with our normal league that we've had. So, the Dalles, Malala, Estacada, Gladstone, and then it sounds like North Marion is probably going to join us based on it. Now, there's 2 more meetings where they can still change and move things around, but that's kind of the latest model that we've seen, which I think is a win for 4A and for our school. The big debate that the 4A was fighting off was if they went 5 classes, there was some bigger 5A schools that were going to move back down. Crook County and some of those would move back into our league essentially, which was definitely a discrepancy with numbers as far as some of those schools and how big they are compared to our school and student body. So I think it's a win, and I think we're in a good spot with how the classification thing looks, for the future. When it comes to our numbers and kids. Now, we still have special districts, like football will be its own special thing because teams go up and down, and wrestling and some of those will be different. But as far as our league sits, it looks like things are going to stay pretty status quo for the next 4 years at least, for now. So,
Just for clarification, that's based on the high school size, not the district, the size of the
yeah,
high school.
yep, high school size, yep.
So the interesting thing, just adding up some numbers here, we had 206 in fall athletes. We have 125. Obviously, a lot of these kids are playing multiple sports because we're a small school and that's just what you do. But our ADM on the OSA website is 384, so that's almost, all of those seats. And then we haven't even included the spring sports or the kids that play multiple sports.
No.
Versus a Crook County or that has 682 kids. It's crazy how we continually fight above our weight
Yes.
100%.
and compete well. I mean, you look at all those all league honors. I don't know. I stopped counting it after the cross-country and all that, we're up over 20. That doesn't include football and volleyball, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty nuts how we continue to do this and all the, I don't know, the success is obviously on your shoulders and everybody else around you, the people you hire and continue to keep employed, so, congratulations. I'm glad we're not going to a 5A model because I saw some of the schools and those.
Yeah,
crazy.
it was great. It is crazy, and that a lot of people don't realize that even how much bigger like a Malala or a Crook, is than us as far as their numbers and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm proud of our district and our kids and our coaches, like for doing the best with what we have and really pushing it. And I think with the growth that we're seeing out here too, like things are just going to keep getting better athletically, in my opinion, as far as our programs and things.
And when does that final decision get made for OSAA?
December. So I think it's the first or second. There's one more meeting next week, and they'll vote and make a decision and recommendation to the board, and then in February, once that's all set, we'll do all of our scheduling for next year, and we'll know what everything will look like with our team. So.
Who did you pick up in the special district? You got Cascade and
Staten was this year, yeah, for football. So.
Okay.
Yeah, if Cascade went away, that'd be fine with me. So.
who'd we drop?
What's that?
Who'd we drop?
Well, so we don't know. It's like they'll do the football once all the other stuff's done.
They'll do it after?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won't know yet what that'll look like for next year, but I'm sure there'll be changes.
Andy, what is in the high school league? I'm assuming there's a committee and a board. What's your participation in that? Like, can you be you're an active member, obviously, but what voice do we have? Does STK to have at the board there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm actually our league rep. So for example, I think it was end of October, I went down with all the reps across the state, like with the Oregon Athletic Directors Association, and they have a big meeting, and basically the 4A all got together with league reps, and based on our league, we made recommendations, to what would 4A want to do, and it was pretty unanimous. Okay. The 6A wanted to go to 5 classes for, I'm not sure why they were pushing that, but 5A was kind of split, but basically, 4A was one of the big players to say, we want to keep our small towns and our communities and not bring in these bigger players, and keep things as is. So, yeah, so we get a little bit of say. I will say the 6A gets to drive a lot of it because there are more schools and obviously they're bigger, but, I do think we do get a little bit of a voice in that, which is nice.
Yeah.
Was there any traction on the private school splits?
I was just gonna ask.
There was, yeah.
Is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone. It was in there though. I mean, for a long time. Brigham's model was in there, and they were talking about it. And there's one more that the Junction City guy made, that's still kind of on the table, but it's kind of losing traction as well. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see because everybody's got their own dog in the fight and where they want to be and stuff like that. But yeah, I do feel like we get a decent voice to that. That's good. And they let people, give their opinions, and we can always go testify and things too. So, yeah.
There's a lot of decisions that are made in those that impact the schools.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Oregon's a big state geographically spread out too, so you start sending the Bend schools to Southern Oregon or Eastern Oregon and not playing the neighbors. I'm sure there's a lot of politics that are playing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the one big one on the east side is that Pendleton opted to go back up to 5A after this year. So, which is really was kind of a big blow, and so they're gonna hybrid something in Eastern Oregon with 3A and 4A, and
Really?
yeah. So, I think we're in a good spot compared to some other potential places that could be. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Andy?
Thanks.
Awesome.
Good job.
Thanks, you guys. Yeah. Have a good night.
Now we're moving on to G, and there's no discussion. H, sharing of citizens' action items only.
You have any?
No. Oh, sorry, no.
Sorry, I was asking
No.
where you had it.
I zoned out there for a second.
She's looking at me like,
She was looking.
I'm literally supposed to ask you that question right now. Okay, all right.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, item I, action items. The consent agenda includes a package of one or more items to be voted on as a unit. However, if any board member is not in favor of one or more agenda items and prefers to take separate action, a request to the chair or vice chair can be made anytime prior to the vote. We'll remove that item for a separate vote. So I will take a motion on the consent agenda.
Vice Chair Johnson, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just quick public information, these policies, were in the first reading a couple of months ago, and they got lost in translation into the second reading, but basically what it is, Oregon has a law that every employee needs to be fingerprinted, and Oregon changed the database so that it's just everything goes into one database, so the policy changed to shoot fingerprints to that one database, and we already have that implemented, so I just wanted to explain how that got here.
Yeah, the other thing I saw on there was for discussion for the group, if you didn't see it, I didn't see any open positions besides long-term subs
Correct.
for certified, so that's
fully
amazing that we're
staffed.
fully staffed.
Yep.
That's great. Any other discussion?
On the policy front, and it might just be my lack of paying attention, the big red X is a new look.
On the
On,
background of the PDF.
Oh, gotcha, I didn't see that.
It's
one
a
yet.
Is that something that
watermark.
we're doing, or is that something that the OSBA's
It
sending
comes
our
to us
direction?
from
It's like,
OSBA.
a big
Okay.
watermark. That's a big X. It looks like you're not supposed to read it. Yeah, there's
I'm
an
kinda
X.
squinting
That's it.
like,
I haven't seen
do
that.
I actually
That's
read
aggressive.
it?
Okay,
When I first opened it, I was like, should I be reading this?
okay, it wasn't just me, good, that's it, that's all I had to say.
It's the AR that's being dropped, so we're not gonna have the AR anymore.
Okay.
With the
Okay,
new implementation.
Thanks, Denise.
Perfect.
good. Makes sense now.
Any other discussion? Signify by raising your right hand.
Motion carries.
And hearing of citizens for non-action items.
Yes, we have Sarah Welton.
All right, do I read this for non-action items?
Yes, please.
Come on in, Sarah. I'm gonna have to read something here real quick. As a board, we appreciate and encourage public input. However, Oregon public meeting law requires these sessions to be held in public. This is a this is a meeting in public, not a public meeting. The primary difference being that public input may be requested or allowed, but is not required under law. In other words, you have the right to view, but not necessarily participate. Policy BDDH, the Guide for Public Participation, in essence, it states that citizens must sign up in advance of the beginning of a regular meeting for an opportunity to speak. At all times, your comments should be directed to the board. Speaking time will be limited to 3 minutes or less, and those with common topics or of interest are asked to combine comments where possible. Designate topic at time of sign up, stay on topic. Any items already directed to the Office of the Superintendent for review will not be heard in board sessions. Finally, neither the board nor district personnel are expected or required to respond to comments and or questions during the board meetings. Whew, sorry, I had to read it. Sarah, we give 3 minutes. Obviously, I'll let you introduce yourself and say, put it on the board, and we have to keep to the 3 minutes just because of law, but we appreciate you being here and sharing what you have to share, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
My name is Sarah Welton. I am a mother of 4. I have children in the elementary and 2 in the high school. I am here tonight as a concerned parent. I'm going to read this because I'm a little bit emotional about this situation. For the past 3 years, my son has been bullied by the same student in the same class, manufacturing class, under the watch of the same teacher. This started back in middle school and has continued through high school with very little action taken, despite multiple reports and pleas for help, and nothing meaningfully has been handled until recently. I do want to thank Mr. Wolf for finally taking this situation seriously, but by this point, it's been too late. The damage is done. My son was in surgery today because of injuries caused by this student. I have turned in all the necessary paperwork about his surgery, and I have received no communication, no follow-up, no acknowledgement of the seriousness of what has happened. Our district promotes a no tolerance for bullying policy, but the same student has targeted my son for the last 3 years in the same class under the same watch of the same teacher. Without any consequences. That's not zero tolerance, that's avoidance. I'm asking the board to hold our staff accountable, protect our students, and make sure there is no other children or parent that has to go through this situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for sharing, Sarah. I'm gonna move to item O, adjournment. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for today's session.